What's up, everybody? Tyson Roush. Let's talk Jets. Hope everybody's doing excellent and you're having a great weekend. The preseason is come and gone. The Jets beat the Giants last night, and they got out of the preseason relatively healthy, which is paramount. That's what you want to see the most. But what's really interesting, I think, as first season ticket holders, it's got to be extremely frustrating when you go to games and you don't see, they don't see the first string, second string. The quality of football isn't that great. And like the highlight of the whole training camp is the joint practices. I mean, at this point, the NFL should televise those because that's all the action you want to see. Because some of these games, it's only for the diehards, man. Especially third, fourth quarter, it is a legit grind. In the years past, it wasn't like this, where you'd see the stars would play a quarter or 2 quarters and stuff. But now it's rough. But anyway, to the game. I'm not going to complain too much more. On offense, you're trying to see who your third string quarterback is, and I had the feeling going into this, Martinez was going to lock this up. I think if they keep 3 quarterbacks, you have a guy in the practice squad. He looks like he's got a much more polished quarterback. Good arm, good accuracy, good command of the huddle, extremely mobile. You saw with the one big run he had with the spin. So I think if there's a guy they're going to keep, it's going to be him. At the running back position, they featured Izzy. And I think the Jets used this preseason game to showcase a lot of these guys for other teams, or maybe even if you're looking for maybe kind of a trade candidate. And I think that's where Izzy falls. I think he's definitely developed as a running back while being a Jet. Unfortunately, the guys in front of him are just better. So he had the nice touchdown run. He broke some tackles. He looks good. Maybe you could trade him to the Cowboys, or you could maybe find a place to trade him. I don't think you're keeping 4 running backs. Firkser, to me, is a tight end that's going to probably stick. I know Yeboah got hurt yesterday, but I think if you look at the more accomplished person, like the more veteran guy, I think Firkser's a guy that's probably going to make the roster at tight end. Just the Jets are kind of thin there. Other than that, the wide receiver position is really interesting because the Jets ran the ball a ton in the preseason, and you don't see it. Like, you hear about Brownlee and all these guys who I can't, but then in the game, you don't really see a lot of them. I know you had the one touchdown a couple weeks ago, but it's not, you don't really know how these cuts are going to work out. You kind of wonder if the Jets go in a different direction, if they look, when the roster cuts happen throughout the league, if they explore other options, maybe a veteran receiver. I don't know, but that kind of positions kind of seems like in flux because Corley's a work in progress. They have a lot of faith in Lazard, but when you get to 5, 6, maybe even 7 receivers, you got to figure out they may want to go a different direction. But then again, they could go to Brandon Gibson too. So that's the kind of position I'm kind of interested in. Defensively, last night was a sack party, man. And that's when we kind of talked about last week, where you want to see the guys that dominate in practice, let it translate to the game. And that's what happened yesterday. And it was amazing to watch. And you got to feel so good for Takk McKinley. I think he had, 2.5 sacks. He looks so explosive off the edge. Like, off the snap, he's going. And that's, if you're looking for a guy to keep, I've been really critical of Michael Clemens. I know they wanted to be more of a well-rounded guy, good against the run, but I like explosive guys off the edge, especially if Reddick's not going to be here, or if your reports this week and he can't play for 3 weeks because of pitch count and conditioning. But McKinley looked really impressive. Leonard Taylor III definitely coming on, where he looked physical, explosive. This is like the 3rd game he's done this. Tackles for a loss, very, very disruptive. I think he had, 1.5 sacks? And then you had, Braden McGregor had 2 sacks. And they were just a force. And they were the names you hear about in camp, and it's like you see them physical, they're nasty. And you look at the leadership the defensive line, the Jets have on the defensive line, from Quinnen Williams, you have Kinlaw and Solomon Thomas and Jermaine Johnson, all these guys. That standard is set so high in the room where these young guys are all flourishing, and they have an excellent opportunity to learn. Other than that, I mean, it's an interesting game. I would keep Codrington as a returner. He looks very smooth, very fluid, explosive as hell. Zuerlein missing 2 kicks is a little bit disturbing. I know they had the guy last week that made all 4. We all count, Zuerlein's been money, man. Huge leg, great year last year. But you're like, good weather, at home, misses 2 kicks. You're like, it's just unsettling, but you're not going to worry about it. You kind of flush it, move on. Other than that, you look forward to the season's here. This is it. I'm excited. I can't wait. It's like Monday Night Football can't come soon enough in my eyes. The Jets, on paper, are one of the best teams in the AFC. They should go toe-to-toe with everybody they can, with a great quarterback, solid running game, and an excellent defense, and also solid special teams, too. So cuts are going to be interesting. We're going to cover it all. Cuts are at 4 o'clock on Tuesday. We'll break it all down. The Jets are definitely going to be cutting players that will be signed somewhere else, and that's a sign of having a good roster. So difficult decisions. I'm curious to see who the coach's favorites are. I'm sure we're going to be arguing about certain players and see what happens. So I'll talk to you guys later.